Any public input? Seeing none, let's move on to the agenda.
Wow. That's good.
Can I move adjournment?
No, if you can get down to that really quick. So it looks like on the agenda, there's a current budget status. Is that towns or ours?
We could give you ours real quick.
Okay,
We should be at 34.6%, and we're at 34.5%. So we are right spot on. So
good.
that's the quick and short of it.
That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're a tad shy on income, but we're right on an expense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Great job, Karen. There you go.
We're getting it done.
Do we have one from,
Well, the March report that was presented to you showed that our expenditures were $91,000 less than the same point last year. Of course, our budget was $300,000 less than last year. So we certainly are using everything that's there. The biggest problem this year, one of the biggest problems this year has been special ed tuition. So we're just knocking it out of the park. Things are finally set now for the balance of the year, but it's consumed a lot of resources that hadn't been planned.
You know what, we're looking at 380, 390. We'd be budgeted 220, or 220, 230, and so, yeah, this has been a very trying year in that area, and it's an area we really can't predict with any certainty what it's going to be, up, down, anywhere in between. Where we're lucky, we do have a capital fund over $150,000 that would help us in a bind in the future. I know we get questioned, and again, it's rightfully so, about money that we keep in reserve, but that's one that we certainly feel that's important that we maintain some cushion there. So, in next year's budget, we kept the number pretty even with this year's budget. I think we did add a little bit more, 10,000 more into that, and we'll see what happens with placements.
But at this point, revenue looks about where it should be. Balance of the expenses just getting us through the end of the year. I don't think we're going to have an awful lot left.
So it sounds like the way you're going, utilize your reserve, probably all of it.
No.
No, I think we can still protect that at this point.
Yeah.
The way the
what we have been using a lot of is the maintenance reserve
Yes.
and the equipment reserve.
Yeah.
I think the equipment reserve is down to $58,000 is
Yep.
my memory serves me
That's
correctly.
correct.
Mostly because
Mine right
of
here.
like, and it's equipment we've had to buy for it.
But the special ed reserve, it
The last
sounds
one.
like.
Yeah, we're not going to have to tap that at this point unless something changes, which it very well could in the next 6 weeks. But at this point, we have enough in the general fund. It appears that we won't have to, by reallocating resources, we won't have to tap that reserve. So, we'll go into fiscal year 19 with that capital fund intact, and hopefully we won't have to access it then. And like I said, with a pretty good chunk of money in the budget as well.
And we've been reminded several times this year that the amount in the capital reserve fund is just about enough, almost enough for one kid in and out of district
Yeah.
placement.
About what we're looking at, about 150,000. Could be a little more, could be a little less. Yeah, I know talking with neighboring superintendents, we're all facing this to one degree or another. I know a neighboring SAU with half the enrollment of ours that's spent over $500,000 on out of district placements this year. So that's hard.
Yeah.
Ted was printing off the last treasurer's report. If anyone needs to, or wants to look at it.
Oh, okay.
Anything else? contracts that will go to warrant articles next year.
Our labor contracts are up, so we have one that covers the police, and we have the other that covers fire, public works, and transfer station are all one contract.
So the town is apt to have 2 contracts.
Yes.
And the school will still have the teacher's contract, hopefully. Go next year.
Yeah, what we did last time around, which was my first and only experience, it was basically the selectmen set a do not exceed and pass that to the people in the bargaining unit.
Yeah.
And we immediately passed it to the attorney who was doing the lion's share of the negotiations, and he just sort of kept that in his back pocket.
It's just-
I thought it worked well.
Yeah,
Yeah, this year the same.
Did it the same way?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well,
it
yeah.
makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, that's just the treasurer's report for the month,
Right.
year-to-date April.
You use the same attorney we use?
Yeah, we use the same attorney.
I had in my earlier life, one of my earlier lives, I had the pleasure of being Teamster unionized. And so I have some experience. I like that guy,
Mhm.
our guy.
Yeah,
I felt confident. Knows what he's doing.
yes.
he knows what he's doing, and he knows the sentiments of the town.
It seems really fair.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, and I know we've talked just a little bit, and he's already expressed an interest in trying to coordinate next year to minimize costs to the town and the school in terms of mileage and
Yep.
so on. So that's important
Oh, yeah.
that we save that money as we have in the past.
Well, what he had done before when your contracts came up, he negotiated in the morning
Mm-hmm.
and in the afternoon with us.
Yeah,
We're home.
Mm-hmm.
right.
So that's a savings.
nice, yeah.
And he was very good about that.
Significant.
Yeah, he's from Nashua or someplace
Salem,
further south.
Salem.
No.
So, number C, other possible warrant articles, is that where we're at?
I believe so.
I am really pushing to get a warrant article on for Lakeway. That building needs to be replaced, period. It has several deficiencies, as we all know, electrical, HVAC,
Roofs,
roofs, yep.
we've been putting off.
Traffic, parking, all of it. And it's built in the 1950s.
Water.
Yes, and water issues. And there's one person that we've consulted with is functionally obsolescence. So, and I know that when we put this before the voters in 2009, we did have conceptual design, and obviously the conceptual design was less square footage than the current building is, because it's more efficient. So we'll see.
Do we have that final report yet? From
No.
Kyle?
No. That'll be, yeah, I think with Warren Street, we'll be following up with them to come back with the final report. As you know, I think everyone here knows, but we did have Warren Street Architects conduct a study of what it would cost to fix Lakeway. And there's nothing exact there. I think the most startling thing to me is that the cost of fixing Lakeway now exceeds what the town's cost would have been back in, 2008. 2008-9 of building an entirely new lakeway. But, you know, what's changed since then, of course, is that we've had a little bit of inflation, not huge, but there has been some inflation. And of course, the other big piece is that blended funding by the state, building aid no longer exists. However, we continue, I made application. Lakeway is in the mix in Concord. Amy Clark from the Department of Education has asked that we update our applications by July 1st, which I will do, work with the board on that. And then another formal application is due, I believe, September 1st, which is the same timeline we followed last year. So I'll be in contact with her and seeing what else needs to happen. But we certainly intend to, you know, be at the forefront, do everything we possibly can if and when building aid becomes available. That would obviously greatly help us with any lakeway project. I think at the same time, I think for a myriad of reasons, as Ann mentioned, and I think is evident in the report of the architect, that you know, this is something that needs to be addressed. And I think it'd be lovely to have state aid. We're going to do everything we can to get state aid, believe me. But I don't think that building a new lakeway has to be contingent on receiving state aid, because I think that the need there is such that we need to find a way to address those issues. State aid or no state aid.
And Kyle did do a presentation at one of our school board meetings that should be on Channel 2 and their records too.
Yeah.
Where he discussed that it was well over $1 million a year.
$1.5 million.
$1.5 million just to get it where it needs to be over the next 15, 20 years. I mean, it's the cost of a new school, really. So it was enlightening.
Yep. Yeah, it'll cost more. They said it'll cost more to fix that one up than a new one would have cost 10 years ago, but you can't help that now.
The cost of fixing it up probably isn't a lot less than a new one, is it?
No, you don't know exactly. These are estimates, but yeah, he was saying a minimum of $1.5 million a year for several years. So you're getting up approaching 10 million pretty quickly. So depending on the school. Back 10 years ago, the new one was around 16. That would probably be at least 20, maybe 22 now.
And that
comparable
estimate was just on the problems that they're having now.
Yeah.
It doesn't plan for what's going to pop up next.
Right. Or what else
And
is
something
under.
always pops up at Lakeway.
Yeah, and what else? Everyone knows this. When you go to fix a kitchen or a car or whatever, you go in thinking you're going to fix X, Y, Z, and pretty soon it's X, Y, Z, A, B, C as well. So that's what we're faced with.
From the town side, do we have any major warrant articles we're anticipating?
Early to know, there's a few things that have come up that we'll work to see what other funds are potentially available, grant funds or other items. For example, the pool's in need of over $100,000 worth of repairs, so we're going to explore what options there are and what grants there might be.
What I was getting at was it'd be nice if we didn't have something competing with
Right.
it.
Right. Yeah, and I think we would try to work towards that. Might be good timing to hold off on and do more planning this year for future projects.
To compete could be bad for both. I think Lakeway is going to need all the support it can get without competition.
It is true.
We have a lot of projects the town does at this time that's going on. So a little less projects this coming year would be kind of nice so we could play catch up.
With all that
Yeah,
support.
well, we're going to have a busy construction season down along the river.
Yes.
Which is good. It'd be nice come late fall and winter to focus on Lakeview.
Yeah.
And now that Hitchner has been sold, I think that would be a help. I hope.
It may be. I'm getting mixed signals on that. if a lot of it's gonna be White Mountain Community College, we could be taking something that's paying property taxes and moving it someplace that isn't.
Mhm.
It's a selectman, that's not good.
Yeah.
It's probably good overall, but it's not gonna help
I see.
the property tax base. But, I don't know that
Yeah,
I'm being
Mhm.
negative and I shouldn't be in front of the camera.
Yeah.
But it's possible.
You gotta plan for the worst case scenario.
But that's reality.
You know?
It's reality.
Yeah.
It made me nervous when I heard that.
Yeah.
And White Mountain Community College is by far the anchor tenant in the Learning Center, so.
Yes.
that's true.
And somebody made a remark during the presentation the other day, well, with the college, employment security should go with it. I'm thinking, oh my God, there's an empty Learning Center. All it'll have left is a daycare. But it's maybe an opportunity.
Yep.
That's right.
Maybe something, would entice some other business to come into town, because they are certainly looking all the time.
See, when the Learning Center was created, it was the baby of McGoldrick and Paul Denton, I think his name was. He was the head of NCIC.
Mhm.
They didn't want to take anything up the tax rolls because it had been coin company.
Right.
Right.
So it was created with a caveat that it would pay full property tax, and it has, and is.
Well,
Even with the state and the school in there.
Mhm.
Well, I guess I've heard discussion a lot about like mixed use up at Kitchener, which would be good because the way that we work is we can carve out a section and be able to tax it at its market rate.
Or at least do a pilot.
And then talk with the school about it, or the owner.
Well, there's
Chapman.
lots of possibilities. I shouldn't dwell on it.
Mm.
I think that the sale of the Hitchner building is a positive, and we'll deal with whatever comes.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I do see that assessed valuation is down on the agenda, so.
All fits together, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, next item is the fuel bids. So how are we gonna work that?
Whose turn?
We had no.
No, we hadn't. The last couple of years, I kind of just jumped in and started doing. Do you have a problem with that again?
I don't know.
I just need to get estimates on how much you need.
The advantage is the town is able to use our volume
Mhm.
to help their price,
Right.
so.
Yeah.
So that certainly works.
And
Well-
And we've been able to, I think, use other town-owned buildings in the mix
Yes.
too, which is at the senior center, for example, library, I think, so,
But we don't advertise for fuel bids.
I go out and individually grab as many companies as I can and say, this is what we've got,
Mhm.
this is what we can do,
Mhm.
what can you give us?
Good.
And sometimes I'll even come back and say, I want this price, even after they've given me a price.
Mhm.
And last year, we got a very good price on propane, and I'm wondering if the school will be in a position to maybe take on that too.
I hope we will, because we were we had a delicate situation last year.
Yeah.
I think will be resolved this year.
That's right, I remember that.
Certainly, I want to see some market movement
Yeah.
on propane. We use it for both cafeterias and to heat I don't want to call them temporaries. They're really not mobile, but the part of the building at
I know
Littleton.
they're the temporaries that are always around for 20 years, odd years.
Right. Temporary permit, yeah. Yeah. And we can talk about like advertising if that's something we should do
I could put it in paper.
too.
I
Yeah.
never have had to. I've gotten some very good deals,
Yeah.
I feel.
Mm.
Mhm.
A lot of your businesses prefer not to have too many people know the rate we end up getting, but it is public knowledge
Mhm.
if somebody asks.
Mhm.
We discuss it at budget
Mhm.
committee meetings.
Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Snow plowing.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I think that's something that we could start talking about how we would want to do it. I think there was an issue where we were billing for hours, but we weren't able to bill for some of the equipment use. And I think that we could probably try to work something out so that it works for both school and town. We'll need to get solid actual cost numbers for what it takes. And figure out what we can do.
Yeah, things are a little more settled this year. I know you were in transition last year with the rec budget department and different things there, and things are a little more settled this year. Yeah, I mean, I think over the years that I haven't been here long, but I know that looking at some of the in the past and what people told me, that it's been a good partnership. The town has been very helpful, and this year as well. I think it's, you know, even though we didn't have the level of work that we did in the past, that there were things that the town did to help us with this year. Snow removal, and Joe DePalma was very, very helpful with that and his crew, so we're certainly thankful for that. And look forward to working together, you know, on that topic as well going forward.
Right.
I think a lot of the problems were centered around some of the personnel and rec, and that's been,
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on, and unknown.
Parts. That's
Yeah.
right. And I think it's time too, there is some kind of an agreement in place that's been in place for a while, I think, for the, we use Lakeway for the
Right.
summer program.
Right.
The fields and all that sort of thing, to be able to
Yeah,
get some kind of a understanding in place. So,
I think so.
yeah.
Yeah. We can work it out.
Tax rate, part of the list.
Yeah, this is one of those things that's just very difficult to know. I mean, we do see a lot of activity in town. And one of the things that Skylar and I have been watching for a while is our sales ratio, and I think it's called coefficient of dispersion in the assessment. So, and this year we decided that it was a little prompting too from the state that our valuation that we have currently, the sales of residential and commercial properties are coming in so much higher that it's throwing off our valuation. So we're doing a complete statistical revaluation this year instead of waiting until 2020, and that'll likely have an impact on the tax rate. You know, I feel optimistic about it, but we also have that very large property that always wants to talk.
Mm-hmm.
So that one really can move the whole.
and they've been quiet, the large one.
Good.
Yeah, they've reached out and really, we're talking about talking
Yeah,
right now, so, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
but we've been talking about talking for 6 months.
that's right, with a couple of cancellations from their part,
Mhm.
we've been ready, so. But they want to talk about some kind of a stabilization,
Yeah.
multi-year stabilization, so hopefully within the next month or so, we'll be able to get together and explore that.
Good. Stabilization will be good.
Yeah.
They, when they bought the system, they reached out to talk, and I don't remember, they must have canceled 4 or 5 of them in a row, and all it was a kumbaya meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we met the new president.
We're still at kumbaya stage, so
Everybody's still happy.
that's my term, not theirs.
Now, there was legislation proposed to change the whole utility valuation. Did that
That's right.
survive? or-
Yeah, there's two major pieces. One was HB 324, and that one got a lot of pushback from municipalities. It was really being pushed by, I think, some of the utility companies, the legislators. So
That's the original bill that
that's
scared us all a little bit.
Yes, it would have impacted us by, it was like $5.
Yeah, 30%.
Yeah.
Had got Brad's attention, I know that. We
That's
talked
right.
often.
Well, I think they got that and the follow-up, both got sent to study, right?
That's right. Hopefully to die.
Hopefully to die, in the study process.
Right. But, I mean, this is one of those issues that utility companies stand to gain quite a bit of profit from, so I would think that their lobbyists are gonna continue
Yeah,
to
they
push
won't
towards
give
it.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as for right now, those two bills are off the plate. Yeah, we do see quite a bit of commercial activity. I guess you've seen that, so it being added, that'll be added to the base. You know, one of the things we did earlier this year was just take a look at the River District and just what's happening there with property valuation. And that's been really positive too. Without us actually having projects in place, the anticipation people are investing in the area. And we've seen property values, I've seen, well, we had a per acre value set at $30,000 in the River District. I saw a private assessors, not the town, but the private appraisal firms breakdown, and it was over $300,000 an acre now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I bet it's a lot more than that.
So, we also have seen a couple of properties close, putting significant investment into the, just behind the Bank of New Hampshire. Tannery Marketplace was
Yes.
under contract for significantly higher than we have it assessed for. And that whole area is already zoned commercial 1, so I think that even the residential property owners that are there are starting to realize they're,
You had one the other day,
Yeah.
you were telling me about who was gonna sell and thought, well, wait a minute here, I think I'll let this develop a little more before I put it on the market.
that's right, yeah.
Probably a smart move on his part.
Yeah,
And that was a residential.
yeah. It was-
Yeah,
Yeah, a senior resident and thinking about
Yeah.
downsizing and making an investment decision, so.
It's like
Yeah.
Roger, the mechanic, who was complaining legitimately about the traffic and the parking and that whole scenario on Mill Street last summer. And was driving the girls in the office crazy with phone calls. So they sent the chairman of the select board down to talk to him. And I just let him go, and go, and go, and go. And finally, when he took a breath, I said, what would you like me to do about it? So, not much you can do. No, it's gonna be a mess, it's gonna be a pain in the neck for a while, but what's the end result gonna be? I said, oh yeah, I said, my taxes will probably go up. I said, yeah, because your property
Yeah.
will.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, he just
Sure.
needed to think it out,
Yeah,
that's all.
and
course.
also listen to it.
yeah.
Yeah, and he got all done, took another deep breath, and shook my hand and said thanks, which was great. I was
Yeah.
good at. And the girls in the office were happy.
He seems pretty happy.
Yeah, and it's gonna be another tough summer for him. He's gonna
Yeah.
have customers that are gonna complain, and he's gonna have to deal with it. But that's the nature of the beast.
Yeah, and this summer it is going to be quite a bit of interruption down in that area. And right now, just because of the funding cycle and how it all works with the schools, we can't actually put pen to paper for our traffic management plan and timing and all of that sort of thing until we get federal approval to
Yeah.
move forward. So but we have in our contract built in, there's not supposed to be any significant interruption of traffic, so.
Yeah.
But I think the real problem will be once we get to Mill Street.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
probably. That's good, pretty tight there.
Yeah.
Saturday, not so much.
About that time, I'm taking some vacation. I'll be back. I'll be back around the
Get
1st
out
of
of Dodge.
December.
There you go, get out of Dodge.
Get Main Street construction all over again.
Really,
I've been to Dodge many times.
back roads gonna be traveled a lot.
Very good.
Already are in the summertime, so.
Yeah.
So when you said you were gonna do a reevaluation this year,
Mhm.
so you're looking at October again, isn't that
Oh.
usually when it's done, is
That's probably about
in
right.
that timeframe? So then the results would be in for the end of the town's fiscal year.
Yeah, we should be ready for, we'll probably have to do a MS1 extension again,
Mhm.
but I think it won't be too won't be too far into it.
Mhm.
They've already started, and I think we're a little bit ahead of the game because the contract that we're in right now is where we're looking at a quarter of the town already.
Oh,
every
okay.
year. So we're not gonna pick up, we're not reassessing every property in the
Mhm.
way where we visited each one, but what we do have so far will be put into the mix.
Okay,
There's been some significant transfers too, like FedEx sold
yeah.
this past year.
Mhm.
Those are a little more complicated to assess, the industrial properties.
Mhm.
Right.
That sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Anything else?
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for calling us together, getting it organized.
We have another meeting scheduled yet, or?
No, we're not yet.
Any books yet? That would be the